Greetings and welcome to another episode of Super Speak Sundays. I'm your host, James the Orator. We want you to understand something, as we always tell you. This is a spot where we take ordinary people who have gone on to do extraordinary things. And today we have our guest with us. We are so excited. This is someone who I've known for some time, and she has, grew up in the city of Gary, Indiana, but then she has taken her craft to higher heights. And she's now impacting people's lives, all over the world. And so we want you to focus in today. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can go on any of our videos, bottom right corner of any video, to hit that subscribe button. So make sure you do that now. I'll wait. All right. I appreciate you. Let's get into it. Our guest today, Toyinda L. Smith, is a licensed minister, affirmed prophet, best-selling author, business consultant, master coach, corporate educator, and global speaker. She is the principal of the Coaching Seat LLC, a learning and development firm which improves employee experience and organizational effectiveness. She also trains professionals with proven revenue-generating methodologies to become certified coaches, speakers, and facilitators. Once these professionals are certified, they are prepared to enter the industry, strategically helping others and gain flexibility and financial freedom. Toyinda earned her associate's degree in organizational leadership and supervision and double bachelor's degrees in psychology and sociology from Purdue University. She has a master's degree in student affairs and higher education from Indiana State University. Toyinda completed the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion in the Workplace Certificate Program at the University of South Florida, Muma College of Business. She is a certified leadership speaker, trainer, and coach with the John Maxwell team. Toyinda is also a member of Sigma Gamma Rho sorority. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome our guest today, Toyinda Smith.
Hello. Listen, that was an awesome welcome. I almost was like, but I ain't
gonna. Hey, it's such a pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you so much.
I know that I reached out to you previously, and we were trying to work out dates and things of that nature, but today is the day. And we are so excited to have you here.
Thank you.
Customarily what we do when we start our shows, we start out, we have a quote for each of our guests. And so we're going to give you that quote, and we're going to just ask you to kind of impromptu, give us your thoughts regarding this quote.
Okay.
So your quote is, a coach is someone who tells you what you don't want to hear, who has to see what you don't want to see, so you can be who you always known you could be. And that's by late football coach Tom Landry. What are your thoughts?
I like the coach quote by the late Tom Landry. I love it. My take on this is that he is pretty accurate inside of coaching, James. And listen, thank you for allowing me to be on the show.
Oh, no doubt.
But inside of coaching, I teach our coaches, and even when I go into organizations, I tell them that a coach is an individual's eyes and ears so that they can be the mouth. And so we are watching from a distance. We are watching even up close to see those little, what we would call gaps, or what individuals are now calling blind spots. But right. It's a place where we come into partnership with another person to be their eyes and ears so that they can be their own mouths. I like to say coaching is all about progress. So we are progress facilitators. Mm-hmm. And I believe Coach Landry had it right. even from an athletic standpoint, because
Sure.
that's almost two different types of coaching. But if we look at the practice of coaching, it was always moving somebody from one place to the next, like a coach bus. So
Absolutely.
I agree with it, love it. We are progress facilitators. Yes, we might say things that our people don't want to hear, but once they hear it, right? Because listening and hearing is two different things.
Oh
But
yeah,
once they
definitely.
hear it, then they can begin to take action. So those are my thoughts on there.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Before we came on, we talked a little bit about we mentioned the name Michael Jordan, and we
Uh-huh.
talked about how Michael Jordan, even though he has been deemed the best of all times, the GOAT, the greatest
Yeah.
of all times in basketball, he even had a coach when he was at the top of his game. Talk about why that's important, because sometimes I think folks feel like, well, I'm already at the top of my game. I don't need a coach.
Mhm.
What benefits do coaches play and people who consider themselves to be at the top of their game?
Absolutely. So let me just start off and say that everybody needs a coach. Even a coach needs a coach.
Yes.
I have coaches and mentors who are joining and partnering with me to make sure that I reach my highest self. So that's really the point I want to make, because when we stop growing, we're dying.
Right.
Right. There's a
Absolutely.
decomposition that's taking place. There's a decay that's taking place. And the only way for that not to take place is that we have somebody else being our eyes and ears so that we can then be the mouth. So the importance has everything to do with perspective. It has everything to do with taking you to a place that you've never been. See,
Right.
when you've never been to a place, you need somebody to begin to speak in your ear so that
Mm.
it begins to make your baby leap. That's a biblical phrase, but it
Uh-oh.
makes your
Uh-oh.
baby
Uh-oh.
leap so that you can then begin to take action. And so coaches need coaches. The best of the best needs coaches
Sure.
so that we can be our best self. And we don't know, how tall can a tree grow?
Right. Right.
The tree can go very tall, but us humans,
Right.
because sometimes doubt and fear creeps in, we begin to shrink back or stop growing. So that
Sure.
coach is there to help us to really get to our best self. And so
Absolutely.
that's the importance. You're not where you should be.
Absolutely.
Even if I'm a multimillionaire, you're still not where you should be, because there's billions after that.
That's
There's
right.
trillions after that. So
Mm.
it's all about the posture of the individual, and really the belief of understanding that I can't do this by myself.
Right.
One person is too small a number. That's John Maxwell, to do anything great. And
Mm.
so you need somebody with you to go alongside you, not to necessarily tell you what to do.
Right.
Because sometimes, James, individuals have a misunderstanding about coaching.
Right.
Coaches inquire and they actively listen. They challenge the paradigms. They
Right.
don't tell you exactly what to do. We're going to ask a question. In athletics, when I was coaching track and field,
Right.
I would ask my athletes, what did you feel when you released the throw?
Mm.
And that's when they became better. See, I could have told them, listen, you dropped your shoulder, which caused your discus to scoop up in the air.
Right. Right. Right.
But when
Right.
I asked them, what did they feel?
Right.
Now they can have a sense of, when Coach Toyinda is not with me on the athletic field, I'll be able to problem solve for myself.
Absolutely.
So that's
No,
the
I want to hit on something that you mentioned. You mentioned being able to feel, being able to be in a person's ear. Talk
Mhm.
about the correlation between, your ministry and
Mhm.
what that means for,
Yeah.
oh, you lit up, your face lit up. But talk just kind of talk about the correlation between that and
Mhm.
what you do when you make decisions about coaching others on a professional level, because of course they go together, but then they don't, because you kind of have to keep them separated, I think. But I'll let you speak to that.
Absolutely. So I'll start off by saying the spiritual world and the natural world runs parallel.
Mhm.
When I've had opportunities to speak in corporate spaces like Amazon, Dell Technologies,
Sure,
Chick-fil-A,
sure.
those areas. I couldn't go in there and say, the Lord is saying, I can't go in there like that, right? But the anointing is still on me so that I can influence their our actions going forward. So here it is. When I think about the spiritual aspect of my life, so I have the ability to evangelize, prophetic evangelism, which means that I'm able to pull you in and get you on board and on track for the next level. And that's both in the spirit and the natural. I create champions.
Sure.
2, I'm also able to go in and listen to the voice of the Lord so that I can give strategy. Listen, meaningful strategy, because I've heard it from the Lord, and I can give that strategy while in meetings. Or as a coach, I can ask what I call prophetic questions. So these are questions that tap into what I'm hearing from the Lord that has everything to do with the individual that I'm working with. I might not say, oh, I just heard this from the Lord, but I'll ask you a question. What would it mean for you to make that shift from going from this location to the next location? So it everything about me, like the whole package of me, because I'm a spiritual being, and I get on my face and talk to the Lord before I work with all of my clients, right? I'm able to be very strategic about how I move forward with them. So again, coaches ask questions. We actively listen, and then we help an individual to become aware. Then we help them to set up an action plan, and then we help them to have a level of accountability. And that's the same thing from a spiritual perspective.
Sure.
Awareness, action, accountability.
One of the things you do in addition to helping people along their journeys to become great, you also, and I know this is probably a big area that many people struggle with, but you help people with public speaking as well. Talk about your experience with John Maxwell and what that did for you and why that was so important for you to share that gift with others.
Absolutely. So I'm going to back up a little bit.
Okay.
I worked at Purdue University for 14 years. So I graduated from Purdue University. I stayed on the campus in West Lafayette, and then I worked for the university for 14 years. And I was making impact in different areas. Because I worked there for 14 years, I moved around a little bit to get more experience. So it was at this point in March of 2014, I was working part-time for a specific department, and I decided that I could make more impact, right? I had been there 14 years. I had poured out on campus, but I started to believe that I could make more impact. So what did I do? Number one, I called my mentor.
Okay.
One is too small a number to do anything great. I called my mentor and I said, listen, I'm thinking about leaving this secure position at Purdue University to start consulting. See, I wasn't coaching at that time, to start consulting. And Rodney Vanderveer, he was my leadership instructor in organizational leadership and supervision. And he said, Toyinda, if anybody can do it, you can do it. Why? Because I've watched you do it before. I watched you come to Purdue University's campus being a discus thrower.
Right.
Inviting you to walk onto the team, and then you leaving that team as a national champion. If anybody can do this, you can do it. So I took that encouragement. And he said, Toyinda, what I want you to do is I want you to go out there and look to find what was trending in leadership. So I came across John Maxwell. I looked and I said, oh my goodness, this man is speaking my language. And so what I did was I invested, because that's the key to everything. I invested in his certification program. Listen, I went into my retirement. I invested in his program because it was a pretty penny. I'm from Gary, Indiana. Listen, what we spending this money on, right? So I invested in myself, and that really kick-started this space of speaking. But I'm going to go back one more time. When I was on Purdue's track and field team as a walk-on, I would stand up in meetings and I would encourage the people. Listen, I didn't have a uniform yet. I was
Oh,
just a
okay.
walk on, but I would stand up in those meetings and encourage them in terms of public speaking. So we're talking
Hmm.
about public speaking. I would encourage my teammates to be their very best, encourage
Sure.
them that they can do it.
Sure.
So leave the university, get connected with John Maxwell, and then I begin to speak and train. And
Okay.
so what I did was I started off with volunteering. I want to come in to speak to this organization, this
Sure.
club,
Right.
this
Right.
organization. And I began to build my confidence in that space. So when I moved
Mm.
to South Carolina after my second divorce, did I say that?
Oh,
Yeah.
you didn't say that. You didn't say that. You didn't say that.
After my second divorce, I
Mm.
moved to South Carolina to start life over again. And guess what? The Lord opened up an opportunity for me to teach public speaking at the university here. So I
Wow.
taught public
That's big.
speaking. It is big,
That's
right?
big.
Because
That's
here,
big.
my background is not in communication. I was a communicator, but my background was not in communication.
Sure.
And the Lord opened up that door for me to really get a great understanding of public speaking, how to engage the audience, how
That's
to
it. That's
craft
it.
a speech for the people in the room. And so
That's
I
it.
did that for 7 years. And then I started a public speaking course and certification in my company.
Wow.
That's the story.
Take us back to Gary, Indiana. Take us
Uh-huh.
back to growing up there, and what was that foundation like that helped to catapult to where you are now? I mean, of course, challenges and all those things we all go through,
Yeah.
but talk about the how that foundation was built to get you to where you are today.
Absolutely. So I even just think about I was actually thinking about that question before while I was getting dressed to come on. And I gotta go back to my parents. So I come from a 2-family home, and everything wasn't always perfect. Where is
Sure.
it perfect, right?
Sure. Right.
And
Right.
so, but it was a couple things that my parents instilled in us. And my parents come from 2-family homes, but even a home where an individual left the family.
Mm.
So my parents instilled in us as 3 girls that we needed to be educated so that we could take care of ourselves just in case your
Right.
partner left.
Okay.
And so they instilled this space of being tenacious regardless of the environments. Remember,
Sure.
I said 2-family home, but one of the parents left.
Right.
And so that could that is a division inside of the home. So our parents really encouraged us to listen. You got to go out there and get it.
Right.
You have to be, here it is, stable and have a level of sustainability. And so I've adopted that practice in everything that I'm doing. When I come to your organization to improve the effectiveness, it's all about stability and sustainability. When
Sure.
I teach professionals to be coaches, it's about stability and sustainability. And so they imparted in us to be tenacious, to
Right.
work for what you want.
Hmm.
I've been in a place, I told you I'm twice divorced, so I had to
Yeah.
start life over. I've been in a place where I had to have assistance. But even from that assistance, I didn't stay on the assistance because I had goals. And
Right.
so they imparted in us this area of, regardless of what's happening around you, regardless of the environment, you can still go after it.
Oh,
But it's
yeah.
going to take sacrifice.
That's it.
It's a level of sacrifice. See, it's not a sacrifice until it costs you something.
Mm.
You
That's
see,
big. That's big.
come
That's
on,
big.
come on. My
That's
parents didn't play that.
Right.
Listen, you are going to have to sacrifice for what you want.
Yeah.
And so we and myself, this is what I do. I sacrifice for what I want.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I'm thankful for my godmother. I don't know if do you know Dolly Harris, Dorothea Harris?
I don't think I do.
Listen, that woman pushed me to another level. So
Okay.
she's the reason why I'm a Sigma Gamma Rho. She was actually on the
Okay.
first line of Epsilon Gamma chapter at Purdue University.
Oh,
So
wow. Okay.
yeah,
That's
so
serious. That's serious.
it's serious. I grew up in Sigma, but she would always dig me out of these little holes that I would get into.
Right. Right.
And then she would say, okay, listen, she would go into coach mode. What are you going to do to stay out?
That's right. That's right.
That's it. What are you going to do to stay out? So I had to come up with a plan.
Right.
But she was very, very important in my life too. But
Well,
I loved it because our parents put us around different people that we could relate to.
right.
So I'm in a position where I can talk to the president and I can talk to the janitor because our
Absolutely.
parents gave us those kind of experiences.
Absolutely. So it sounds like you grew up in a very stable environment. Of course, everybody has ups and downs in families.
Absolutely.
And so you go to Purdue, you work for 16 years, 14
14.
years, 14
Mhm,
years, 14
mhm.
years. And then you launch this, you go to John Maxwell, and then you launch the coaching seat. Talk
No,
about,
I
oh,
launched
oh,
leadership. So, right, I
oh,
launched
oh, oh.
leadership strategy consulting. And then
Okay.
after 4 years, let me see, 5 years after that, I launched the coaching seat.
Okay, so take us to the coaching seat now, because it sounds like the foundation was strong. I mean, you've gone through some things in life to help you to say, hey, you know what, I can help people because I have my own experiences to
Yeah.
talk about. So talk about the coaching seat. We know that business owners are probably listening. We know that folks who are executives are probably listening to this, and so we want them to benefit from the coaching seat. And what is it? If you could wrap it up in a nice bow, in a nice box. What is the coaching seat, and why would people benefit from being a part of this initiative?
Absolutely. So the coaching seat is a learning and development firm where we provide public speaking, coaching, and facilitation experiences so that individuals in the organizations and the teams that they work on can be enhanced. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of what we do is create a culture of coaching because coaching is a communication style.
Sure,
And many times in businesses, the problem is communication or the lack thereof,
sure.
or the way the communication is coming across. So we help individuals in terms of personality assessments. You need to know who's laboring among you, or you just need to know who's on your team so
Right.
that you can put them in the right seat on the bus.
Okay.
Right? Because many times we have people in the wrong seats in our organizations.
Mm-hmm.
And so we help you to be very execution oriented and to be strategic about how you place individuals by creating this culture
Now
of
let, now
coaching.
let me ask you a question. You mentioned something. You said organizations may have the wrong people, and no, you may have the right people in the wrong seat
In the
on the
wrong seat.
bus. And so,
Hmm.
talk about that. I mean, because we know that sometimes people get positions for many different reasons.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's based on ability. Sometimes it's
Yes.
based on the network,
Yes.
the
Yes.
net worth. All those good things. And so,
Yes.
how do you, if you're in a position, how would you navigate that type of experience with organizations to ensure that their bottom line is producing what they need to produce?
Absolutely. So I start with really assessing the organization to see where the gaps are, to see where
Mm-hmm.
the limitations are. And then I would go back in and begin to look at personality assessments. So I'm certified in
Okay.
2 personality assessments. One is called Real Colors, the other one is Strength Finders. I think you
Okay.
probably know with the Gallup, it's
Sure.
Gallup
Sure.
Strength Finders. And so once you understand the how an individual gets results, and you match that to your organizational mission and
Mm.
then the goals underneath that
Sounds like
mission.
alignment. Sounds like
Come
alignment.
on, come on. You
Mm-hmm.
have a better understanding of who belongs where, regardless of how they came in, regardless of if, nepotism takes place in
Right.
this organization. We
Right.
still got to put people in the right space. And that concept is from Jim Collins. He wrote
Okay.
a book called Good to Great, from
Yes.
going from good to
Red
great.
book, red and black book.
Yes, yes.
Uh-huh.
And so it's important that if an organization wants to have you talked about the bottom line. If
Mhm.
you want your profits to be increased and enhanced and your customers to come back, you've got to make sure that you have the right people in the right seat. And you don't move forward with your company,
Sure.
even if you're losing money, until that's right.
Sure. Sure. Now,
Until
now,
that's
now what now what about, so there are a number of, we've noticed, since we've had changes in our culture,
Mhm.
many small businesses have started to emerge.
Yeah.
Talk about your experience working with small business. I mean, do you work with startups, or to talk a little bit about your experience in that area, in that space?
Right. So I help coaches start their business. So here's the thing: when people come through my coaching program, I tell them up front, number one, you're going to leave out being a coach and facilitator,
Okay,
because coaches are speakers and we train, we are facilitators. And
sure.
so it's important to have that threefold cord. Listen, that's not easily broken. So
Hmm.
I do assist business owners, especially coaches, in starting their business. And we really start with number one, what's causing you to want to impact a particular population of
Okay,
people?
okay.
What are you going to bring to the table to impact them? And listen, how much money do you have in your budget to push this thing out? Right?
That's right.
Because marketing is the thing.
Right,
That like I had to learn that the hard way, but
right.
marketing is the thing. And so we have to use money in order to do that. But it's really identifying their why, and then
Sure.
identifying how they're going to help their people to get remarkable results.
Okay. All right. What would
Yeah.
you tell what would you tell your younger self as you look at the course of your life,
Don't do
if,
it.
as you look at, I got to do it. I got to
Don't
do it.
do it.
As you look at the, the two divorces and all the things that you've been through, what do you tell your younger self? Because there's a young person watching this who who has an aspiration, but they may be stuck in a place and they don't know what decisions to make right now. What would you tell your younger self that someone else could glean, this information?
That is something that's difficult. It's so many things. But I think the main thing for me is that no experience is wasted,
Right.
right? Even the hard experiences that I had, it wasn't wasted, because every particular experience can be used at the next level.
Right.
This is the other thing I would tell myself. You have to know who you are.
That's it.
See, I didn't
That's it.
know. I didn't know that I could speak prophetically into people's life and send them in a direction of empowerment.
Wow.
I didn't know that I was going to be the person that had 70 coaches, come up underneath the program
Yeah.
and to be rock stars.
Wow.
They are rocking it out. I didn't know that I was going to speak on an Amazon stage in Luxembourg.
Mm-hmm.
I had to
Right.
go get him. I had to go get a globe because I didn't know,
Right.
where you want me to speak. I'm from Gary, Indiana. What?
Right. 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 Right.
You know,
Right.
and so I didn't know who I was. And so when I got a glimpse of who I was and the value that I brought to the table, it didn't take me long to exit environments that
Mm-hmm.
did not respect and value that.
Oh, wow. That's heavy.
Exit environments that do not respect and value who you are.
That's heavy.
So that's
That's
what I
heavy.
would tell my younger self.
Okay. And so now that you're older, you've done some of those things, because again, your life is beaming. I mean,
Yeah,
you have built a strong foundation, and then not only have you given to yourself, but you have a spirit of giving to others,
absolutely.
which those seeds that you have planted
Yeah,
will grow for a long time. And so we
absolutely.
definitely appreciate you today. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Coach Toyinda Smith from the coaching seat, and she is she's waiting. If you have a desire to be a coach or to improve any types of skill sets that you have, she is willing and ready. I'm gonna give you the last word.
Absolutely. Listen, a part of my foundation in everything that I'm doing is to unleash potential. I wrote a book about it. You
I
know,
forgot about
you
the
have
books.
no, it is well. You
Huh?
have to move yourself from stagnation and suppression to activation. The next part of me has to do with dominating your confidence. And I wrote a book about that. That's actually one of my best sellers. And here it is about dominating confidence. Once you unleash your potential, you're going to have opportunities to get to be able to take seats at tables that you thought you would never be at. But you have to be confident.
That's it.
And then my third book is The Coaching Posture. It's an anthology of coaches, and coaches are humble. So we coach with humility.
Sure.
And when you are humble, you will be exalted in your due season. Those are my last words. I would love for people to connect with me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at The Coaching Seat. We do have coaching certifications coming up, and you can go to the website that's streaming across this broadcast.
Ooh-wee. Hey, you know what? You have impacted somebody today. Your spirit is evident. I mean, your energy is contagious.
Amen.
And we just thank you for the opportunity to be here today. I don't know what else to say. I guess I'll see you later.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you. And we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you heard everything. I hope you stayed on to listen to the entire segment. But there was some jewels dropped today. There was some good information dropped that you can't run from. Get you a coach if you need one, because even the greatest coaches have had coaches. Until next time, I'm your man, James the Orator, here at Super Speak Sundays. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at James the Orator. Until next time, we'll see you soon. We love you. Take care.